All right, this next problem deals with absolute value functions, right? And what we remember about absolute value functions is that anything inside these brackets, these straight brackets, gets made positive. I'm not going to go into the whole conceptual idea of absolute value at this time because this is a review. If you want to rewatch lessons 2.5 where I talk about absolute value and what it means, you can do that, and that kind of goes over that concept of what it is. But for our intents and purposes, we just know that anything that goes in here, whether it's positive or negative, is going to come out of these straight brackets as a positive thing. Okay, so when we graph this, what we're going to do is we are going to just basically plot points, because that works best for this. Now, you could try to do this with slope-intercept form, but it gets a little funky when you do that because those brackets make some bizarre things happen. So I think it's just easiest, oops, let's go with black here. I think it's easiest to just do a straight up table of values, all right? And so we're gonna make kind of one of our longer tables like what we were using for parabolas, okay? And I always start with 0, so let's put that in. So we got 3 times 0 minus 1. Well, 3 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. Right, now you can get a negative 1 as your result. It's just that you're not going to get anything negative out of this part of it. Right? If I put 1 in, you get 3 times 1 minus 1. So 3 minus 1 is 2. If you put 2 in, you're going to get 3 times 2 minus 1. 6 minus 1 is 5. Right? So you should be able to see that what's happening here is not going to be any different than for all your values being positive, right? It's going to be normal, like a regular linear function, right? So let's just plot these three, and then that kind of gives us the idea of what's happening on the right side of this, okay? So we have the point 0, negative 1. Let's put a point there. We have 1, 2, which is right here. We have kind of a steep line here, which, you know, that is your slope. Your slope is 3. Right? So I know that I'm going to have a line going through here, right? And we'll stop it right at this point because we're not sure what happens after that yet. So let's do negative 1 now and see what happens. Well, you have 3 times negative 1 minus 1. Well, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. But this absolute value sign makes it positive, right? Because if you have the absolute value of negative 3, that equals 3. So you have 3 minus 1, which gives us the same as what we had up here, which is 2, right? And if I put negative 2 in, 3 times negative 2 minus 1, you're going to get negative 6, and that becomes positive, just like this one. So it's going to be basically a mirror image of what we had over here. So you can have negative 1, 2, right, which is going to put me up here, and then 2, negative 5, which puts me up here. So it's basically pretty much mirroring on the y-axis. And so we'll just take my line, we'll go like this. Now I'm much better at drawing these than I am at drawing parabolas, which I'm sure you guys will agree with me on. All right, so that's my function. I don't have to do anything else with it, right? Domain and range are just like what we've talked about in the past with domain and range. Domain is just what x values can you put into this, and you can see that there's no x values that you can't put into it. So my domain would be all real numbers, and I'm going to write this with the fancy R this time. All right, all real numbers. Then my range is going to be what values do I get out of this, and what values am I never going to get out of this? Well, you should be able to see that the lowest point this thing hits is right there, and it's never, you're not going to have anything that's going on down here. Nothing. Everything's going to be here and above. So your lowest point is y equals negative 1, right? So you would say y is always going to be greater than or equal to negative 1, and nothing below that. So that's how you write that, and that's it for this problem. It is that simple. And I hope Hope you can just kind of remember how to plug your numbers in and make the absolute value work, and that's how it goes. All right, we'll see you on the next one.